And we are live. Hello, guys, and welcome to another episode of Jason Hebert Live. We have for you tonight another missing persons interview. If you're not familiar with the show, we do run an interactive show where most nights we interview the families of either a missing person or an unsolved crime, such as an unsolved homicide. And we help to bring exposure to that case and spread awareness and hopefully help to bring some people home or to at least get closure, depending on the situation of the case. The show is interactive and you can, sorry, guys, reading the chat. You can ask questions in the chat while you and try to actually help try to help these families who are grieving. Sorry, guys, I was reading as I was talking and it threw me off for a moment. So I click subscribe and set the notification bell to all if you are interested in trying to help out. So give me just one moment. Karen, could you check your messages? I just want to make sure we're all set. Trying to make sure I don't have a ton of pictures on tonight's subject, so I'm just gathering up all the flyers. We are kind of working last minute here, guys, and I do apologize for that. Give me just a second, but it kind of helps the chat fill up as well. So I'm grabbing our Be United flyer. Please check them out, the Be United group. Their links are below, as well as Karen Nichols Phillips groups, East Missing Texas 8. They are both absolutely incredible, and they are missing persons advocates that help out with this. I want to introduce my lovely co-host tonight. Her name is Chris. Chris, do you want to tell them a little bit about yourself?
Hi, my name's Crystal, and I'm very interested in this case and missing persons cases. And I also studied psychology, so maybe that could be of some help. Absolutely.
I think it will. And so you're probably going to be helping with a few cases, but Crystal found our channel. Yeah, hopefully. Chris does a great job. But so I understand you said psychology for about 10 years or so, and then you also have started looking into forensic psychology, is it?
Yeah. Well, with the whole pandemic, I'm putting it off for a few years, but yeah, hopefully I get into some sort of forensic psychology in the future.
Absolutely. Good luck. I think you'll do a great job and that's an awesome field. Hello to everyone. Dave, hello. Rachel, Elizabeth, Yvette, Watcher, Jennifer, Lisa, Barb, too many to name, Steve. We got a lot of our everyday peeps here. Sarah, we got about 45 people now, so it might be a good time to start. We're kind of running last second here, guys, so I didn't do my typical length script, but I'm going to be reading an article from EastTexasMatters.com about the case. I have confirmed with the family that it's for the most part correct. If there is any information that's not correct, they will correct it for us once we bring them on. So let me kind of go over some of the details now that we got a few more people in here. Sorry for my messiness today. Usually I'm a little more prepared. But this is out of Cass County, Texas. So Eric Thomas Alvarado has been missing since November 20th of 2018. He went missing from Atlanta, Texas at the age of 32. Currently, he would be, it says 33, but this was in March, so I believe he'd be 34 now. 34, okay. Thank you, Chris. He's Hispanic. He's taller than me, 6'5" to 6'6", and weighs about 270 to 280 pounds. So it's a big recognizable guy. If he's out there, guys, we need you to keep an eye out. We'll bring up his pictures in just a moment once we introduce his dad and his sister. So the front door was wide open. The screen door was wide open. The dogs were gone. He was gone, and the Jeep was gone. So Arkansas State Police found Eric's Jeep later that morning on Highway 71 in Little River County. Atlanta police said it was about 3/4 of a mile north of the Red River, and they advised them that it was out of gas. Eric's dogs were later found dead nearby. So Eric has black hair and several identifying tattoos, which we have several pictures of. According to his wife, he had been making plans for the future and was about to open his own tattoo business. I believe he actually had the business. We'll go over that with the family.
He had the business from his home.
Okay. So he was gonna. Okay, so they'll go over all this. So it sounds like he was gonna maybe expand and get a shop.
Yeah, probably.
So he's got Spanish blood going across his neck and as far as around his wrist. He's got his father's name, Lorenzo, which is one of the people we'll be interviewing tonight. So let's bring them on. God, they can tell his story a lot better than I can. And Lorenzo and Christy, how you guys doing tonight?
Doing great, Jason. How you doing?
I'm doing excellent. I apologize for my unpreparedness as we kind of go through this. Thanks for bearing with me. But I'm so sorry for what you guys are going through, man. And I pray that we can help bring about some kind of answers or someone forward that knows something, because someone always knows something.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you want to start by telling us a little bit about Eric, and then you can kind of lead us into what we know in the days and weeks before his disappearance leading up to that day?
Sure. My son was a great kid. He still is. And just a smart overall, great artist. He was in art school, and, he decided that he was going to become a tattoo artist, which super awesome. He would give you the shirt off your back if you needed it. If you needed money, food, a house, a place to live, that was him. He's just a great big old heart. He's a tall, big guy, with a huge heart. He decided to go back home to Texas, in Atlanta, where his wife's family lives, and I guess he was going to start his tattoo shop there in Atlanta. As far as I could tell, everything was all right with them and him, and they were doing real good. You want me to get into the story of how he went missing, or
Absolutely.
apparently that night, she had called me about 6 o'clock in the morning, and had told me that my son, or actually it was about 7 or 8 here. It was I think it was 6 o'clock in the morning there, and she had told me that my son went missing. And I asked her, "What do you mean he went missing?" And she said he went missing about 1:30 in the morning and never came home. But I'd asked her, "Have you called him?" And she said, "No, he left his phone at home." And I said, "What do you mean he left his phone?" My son never would leave anywhere without his phone. And, apparently he had left it there that morning. But she said he was going to go out just to get some tobacco at the little gas station store at 1:30 in the morning. I'm like, but then she said the vehicle didn't have no gas, and he had no money. So how was he going to get all that stuff?
Right.
And then as I was talking to her, I told her I'm going to call the Cass County Sheriff's Department, Atlanta. And as I hung up with her, I was talking to the police there at that time. And as we was talking, they said that they found his Jeep in Arkansas. And he was talking to the officer, and he said nobody was in there. It was on the side. The doors were locked or something like that. Just weird. They tagged it to have it towed in so that he can. My imagine was fingerprinted and all that stuff. Make sure that they could figure out what happened. And as the officer said that they walked down about a mile from where the Jeep was, and they didn't see no sign of him, no nothing at all. But his wife kept saying that she wanted the Jeep and wanted to pick it up. She needed to have it for whatever reason, I don't know. Well, they decided to give her the Jeep after 2 hours of them finding it, And, we kept going on about why did he go missing? What happened? I tried to question her about everything, and she just couldn't give me one straight answer. And then I decided to call the family and hopefully get down there and do a search party. Like within that 4 day, they went down there and did a search party. The funny thing about it is that they found one of my son's shoe with the tag off of that Jeep 4 days prior in his shoe. 4 days later, they found the two of his dogs. One of them was pretty slaughtered, and the other one looked like it had a bullet. But other than that, as far as I could tell, that nobody really did a good search about my son.
whenever his wife called you and told you that he was missing, what was your initial reaction? What did
My
you think
initial
about that?
reaction was, how can you just tell me? My first reaction was, you're telling me that my son went missing, and to my knowledge, my son would never just go off and leave his family. I
Yeah.
know him too well.
That's out of character.
Very out of character for him. My first thought is, she would have asked me, "Have you heard from my son or anything like from? Have you heard from Eric?" And she never asked me that for one moment. So in that moment, I didn't even think about putting blame on her or anything like that. I just wondered why she didn't. I told her, I said, well, maybe he took off. Did y'all get in an argument? Did y'all get in a fight? She adamantly said she didn't. They didn't get in a fight. They didn't argue, not like that. And I took it as that. And then when the 2 days later, I guess my son, the youngest one, and my his cousins went down there, and I mean they started questioning everybody. They got a little bit more story than I do. They found out a lot more than I did about what was going on. My son Eric had cameras all around in the house and are out the house, and apparently what they could see from the camera, somebody had tampered with it. There was like two hours of it missing. The phone was factory reset the next morning, and we just couldn't figure out who did all this stuff. But she factory reset the phone, and we don't know who messed with the cameras. But all that was taken in from the police, and we have never gotten anything back or anything positive from that. They never ever contacted me.
Well, I sent in a letter to the police department, actually. I sent a letter to everybody. And what I got back is that they couldn't give me any information because there was still an ongoing investigation. But other than that, they didn't give me any other details.
Can we talk about the cameras? Like, why did he have cameras inside in his house? Surveillance.
Well, the closest thing that I could figure out is that he was in a bad neighborhood.
Oh, but there was somebody living with him at that time, and that had done him wrong. And so I think that he just didn't feel safe.
And let me just jump in real quick. Sorry, Christy. Anything we talk about here, guys, we make no hard accusations. It's all just alleged. This is just the family trying to piece together what they know.
Right.
So if you are mentioned here, we're not accusing anyone of anything. It is all alleged. We just have to say that to be safe.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. I should have said that in the beginning. Sorry.
So the whole, I believe the cameras were because my son had a tattoo parlor in his own home, and he was working with a lot of money, because when you do tattoos in the underground situation, I guess, there's a lot of money working through there.
Yeah.
Cash.
And he wanted to make sure that he didn't get robbed or anything like that.
Cash on hand kind of business.
It's tied into it.
I wanted to just go over a few questions in the chat. They're different, but they kind of relate to some of the things you said in the beginning. So Watcher on the Wall asks how far Arkansas was from him. And then Elizabeth Gibbs asks how long after he disappeared was his Jeep found, and also how long the dogs.
Okay, so our Ogden, Arkansas, where his Jeep was found, was supposed to be an hour, 45 minutes away from his house.
So Eric went missing at 1:30 a.m. Around 2-ish, his wife calls the police. Like she had called Walmart, so right after that, she called the police.
Within an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Of him going missing.
So wait, so by 3 then, because he went missing at 1:30 and she called at 2, right?
Yeah.
Right. She called.
Within 30 minutes, she called.
The first time at 2, and then she calls Walmart. She calls around to the hotels. I don't know why, but and then she calls the police again around 5 a.m. And basically says that he went missing both times. But I don't know why. But anyways.
My question is, why did she call only 30 minutes?
Yeah, you would think that that's enough time. You would just think he's still at the store, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, there was, if you were going to go out to the store, and most of us that go out, hey, I'm going to go to the store. I'll be back in about 30 minutes. Okay. 30 minutes is enough time to say he's been gone a long time. And if the store is maybe about 2 blocks away from the house, you're not going to be gone that long.
Yeah, it's a very small town. I mean, there wasn't very far for him to go.
My son was not one of them persons that strayed away from the house very much. He didn't like to get out of the house. He was maybe a homebody more than she was.
So you don't find it abnormal that she called so quick?
Yeah,
I do, very much do.
Oh, okay.
Because that's one of the first times I said, why after 30 minutes? Because within that 30-minute frame, she had posted something about MIA.
MIA for an hour now or something like that.
Yeah, MIA for about an hour now. And she threw a cuss word in there, but April.
It was in the early hours of the morning, like
Yeah.
like
So-
I'd be asleep, honestly.
Yeah. So then, like after 5 a.m., she has her friend drive her around, and then she comes home again and calls the police again. So after that, she calls, the family and the friends and stuff like that, and then police do a visit around 10:30 a.m. and then around 11ish, the Jeep was located in Ogden.
Okay.
And like I said, Ogden's about 45 minutes away. The Jeep was found after she had called the police. I want to say, let's say from that time frame of the first time she called the police from 1:30 to the next time was 5 o'clock in the morning. So within that 5 o'clock in the morning, they started they didn't put a missing person on him. What she had to do is put a missing person on the dogs. And through this whole time, she was just worried about her dogs, not my son, really. So,
Did they put like a bolo out for the car?
No, for the dogs.
For the dog?
Well, yeah, they were looking for the vehicle,
The vehicle had the dogs. So,
but because of the dogs, they started looking for the vehicle.
I heard that they found the vehicle because it was on the highway, and that's dangerous. So they put like a tag on it for the tow company to come get it.
yes,
It
yes.
wasn't like they were actively looking for it.
No.
It was just like abandoned on the highway, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I have another. Oh, well, sorry. No, go on.
Oh yeah, we'll get one in then the chat, sir.
Yeah.
Elizabeth Gibbs asks, how long was he with you before he went back to Texas?
It was a few months.
Do what, sir?
It was from August he had just left. It was right in August because it was my birthday. We had that little birthday party at the park.
Well, yeah, it was about 3 months after he had left from here that he went missing in Texas. Yeah.
Almost 3 months.
Okay.
And, for me, I found it strange that he went back because he was up here and he was doing really good at a great job. I mean, making $22 an hour as just a cement truck driver. He was doing really good. I don't know. I think he had said that to me that his wife was pressuring him to go back to Atlanta, which I can understand because her whole family lived there.
And this is Atlanta, Texas.
Atlanta, Texas, yes.
Just in case anyone's just joining, just
Yes,
because the other
Atlanta.
one's so common,
Atlanta, Texas, yes. And I found it that when I talked to my son before he left, it's not like he really didn't want to go, or I felt something wasn't right at that moment. So I don't know what because I never seen him like that, or ever felt that he was a happy guy, but at that moment I just felt he wasn't happy.
It wasn't. They left in a rush too.
Yeah, it kind of left in a real bad rush. So.
I mean, it's like they were itching to get back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And how long since they were back then he went missing? What was the time frame of that? Was
Within
it
3 months.
within 3 months, and
Yeah.
then he was missing?
Yeah.
Okay. And okay, let's talk about the dogs.
Yeah.
So he was taking the dogs out for a walk, or what's the
No.
story? What's the wife's story when it comes to the dogs?
Well, apparently she said the dogs.
Well, there was a couple things.
Yeah, she said a couple of things about the dogs, but she said that he had left the door open and the dogs took off with him, or he took the dogs with him and put them in his Jeep, or the dogs automatically left out the door and then got into the Jeep with him, and he just took them with him. That's what she said.
Okay.
You know, I'm not too sure on how. You know, my son loved them dogs. Whew. I mean, he
Yeah.
took care of them dogs. He was the only one taking care of them, watching them, and they were always with him. So I kind of imagine that they, you know, they're like my dogs. Wherever I want to go, they want to be,
He
and
was
that's
very
where
attached to
maybe
dogs.
what happened with them dogs is that anytime their daddy wanted to leave, they were going to go with him, you know, and take off. Because I mean, I don't think anybody would have got near them dogs.
Were they vicious or?
You know,
I think if they didn't know somebody, they probably would have been.
Okay.
yeah,
If they knew people, then there probably wouldn't have been any noise from them at period.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's important though.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. And we do have, can you just reiterate exactly how did the dogs die?
Oh, so a couple hours after they find the Jeep, the family goes down there and,
4 days later.
Oh, 4 days later.
Yeah. By the weekend, they went down there to do the search, and they were all searching. The one party went this way, another party went this way. They were all really searching, and his Jeep was about a mile up the road from this weigh station, truck stop weigh station, which has been closed for a long time. But apparently, when my nephew had found the dogs, one on each side of the road, and one of them was really cut up bad, like it'd been run over bad. So they said, and the other one looked like it had a bullet wound, but they never checked those bullet wounds. They gave
The dogs were never examined.
never examined. They gave those dogs to her right off the bat, and she buried them somewhere in her grandfather's land or something like that. But
it was right away. I mean, it was
like that, right at the moment spur.
It just felt like in that moment, all she really cared about were her dogs. And, I don't want to insinuate anything because I don't know. It just seems funny to me that this was someone who knew exactly every moment of every day, everything that my brother did, she knew about. And exactly this one day she says, well, I don't know. I was in the bedroom, he left to get something and that was it.
Yeah.
I mean, she was someone who really knew everything that he did.
8 years with my son, or maybe 9, I believe. You figure that she knew everything about my son, or always knew where he was at. She was always with him, never without him at any time moment, except when he was at work. And even at work, she would drop him off and pick him up or take his lunch or whatever. But at the same time, she just, that one day didn't know nothing about him, where he went, why did he go there, disappeared right off the bat. But the next day she knew about everybody or all the stories that she thought might have happened, why they did this to them. And it was 20 different stories that I heard from her, and so did everybody else. But getting back to the dogs, now, when a dog gets hit by a car, you're going to see a whole stray of blood, because if the dog has been run over on any sidewalk, or you're going to see just a whole spray of blood.
Right.
There was nothing of that on those roads at all.
It was just like they were just dropped there.
It seemed like they were just placed there. But even then,
well, because they looked and they didn't find the dogs. I mean, obviously, it's just where the area is. There's no trees. It's not like a wooded area or anything. It's just you can see it's like plain grass.
And the dogs weren't. If you got a dead dog 4 days later, you find those dogs, they're going to be stiff as a rock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
These dogs are still, from what I gather, that my nephew and the family said, they were still kind of like warm, like they'd just been placed there. And on top of that, they found one of my son's one shoe,
his slipper,
his house slipper with that toe tag from the Jeep that they gave her.
But nobody thought
the
that
first
to
day.
be.
But how far was the car where the car was found from where his shoe was found?
About a mile.
Okay.
And then they found.
A day later, they found the keys.
Well, a day later, they found his car keys. They weren't hanging on the fence. It looked like somebody clipped them on there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because when you put with those clips that they clip onto your belt or something, you have your keys hanging off your belt or something.
Yeah, if
Or
you
on a
throw
linear.
them, they're the kind of keys that if you throw them, they're not just gonna clip perfectly onto the fence.
Okay.
Okay. And we have a few questions in regards to kind of the house and the neighborhood. Watcher on the wall says, sorry to ask this, but was there any drug activity or gang activity in the neighborhood? And then Elizabeth Gibbs asks, wow, what about the cameras around the house? Is there any video of anything?
Well, the videos apparently they said couldn't. They when my son and his cousin got there, they checked the video. They seen some stills of my son standing there like he was waiting for somebody before he left, and then they seen the back of the Jeep go around the house back to some apartments. But other than that, everything else, they said it was like 2 hours missing from there. And then there was a house across the street from my son's house. There was there's drug activity over there. Apparently, one of those kids had come over, and his wife had heard him tell my son that it's got to be tonight or nothing at all. And then that's when all this happened after that.
That same night?
That same night.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the police officer they put on my son's case lived across the street too.
No, more like behind him.
Or
right?
more like behind or something from my son's house. But he had cameras up on his house, and he was also heard say that he seen my son leave. But then he recanted on that. And then
well, even the way his house is placed from where my brother was living, there's no way he could have actually seen my brother leave unless he's seen like headlights or something.
But if they make you the detective of his case, why would you take your cameras down the next day?
Yeah, that's sketchy.
Yeah, he had cameras up on his roof and he took them down. But I also heard that him and my son had a little beef going on about a cat or something in the neighborhood that my son had.
And he's part of the investigation.
He
He was.
He was. He's not in.
So we said that that's a little bit conflict of interest there, you know?
Yeah, it is a conflict.
Well, and he's also good friends with the wife's family.
Yeah.
Big conflict of interest.
Yeah. But they still continue to let him be on the case until probably the middle of the year of the following year.
Well, apparently now they said they have nobody on the case except for a Texas Ranger, but he has never contacted me and left numerous messages with him to try to get something resolved and done. After, even though we tossed so much information into his lap and about all this situation. Now you figure if somebody's got, the wife won't even take a polygraph test just to get her out of the picture to say, hey, she has nothing to do with whatever. She won't even take a polygraph test.
Have you talked to her?
Huh?
Have you talked to her recently?
We had a big falling out within that 6 months of her. After the first 3 months, she dropped out of saying, I'm not going to look for my son anymore. I've moved on. I got another man. That's it. I'm not going to do nothing. Okay. Bam. That was it. So we have talked, but it comes out to a big old argument. So we rather just stay away from each other. And that's just it. Because at this moment, I don't know if she's involved or not involved.
It's
basically
speculation, but there's just a lot of things that really don't add up.
Yeah, because it all leads back to her all the time when we start looking at this, or in the people that she did name. It's just the fact of it is that if you loved my son that much, why would you stop looking for him? Why would you even, even though some people are going to say that you might have had something to do with it, because it always happens. You should never stop thinking that, hey, you know what, you need to look for my son because you was heavily involved with him for 8 years,
Well, in the first few months, she was just, oh, Eric's everything. Eric's this. Eric's the father of our kids, and yada yada yada. Eric's the best thing that ever happened to me. And then just a few months later, I have a new person. I'm not gonna look for him anymore. He was a piece of trash. Blah blah blah. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Right, because she started trashing him out, saying that he was a big drug addict and drug dealer and all that. And in the beginning, it was no, he never did no drugs, he never sold no drugs, and all of a sudden you trash out of him after 3 months or 4 months, But it's just one big mess after another. And the only thing we're trying to do, and folks, I hope you hear me out there, is we're just trying to find my son and get him home however we can. I miss him, and we all love him. And whatever you guys can do to help out, please bring it to the table and let us know.
Yeah, please, guys. And I say it's like every episode, but a lot of people don't come forward because they think what they have is either too small to matter, or like, oh, Lorenzo, they probably already know this. I won't bother saying it, but never assume that, guys, because you never know what's going to be the thing.
Exactly.
Never assume. Yes,
Just
every
the
little bit
smallest
helps.
detail.
You just never know.
And Karen Nichols Phillips, who check her out on Facebook, guys. She helps with a lot of missing. She's one of the advocates for this family. She's amazing. She's the one that kind of helped set this up, actually. But she says, Sam told me that the officer had been trapping cats to take to his deer lease. I don't know what that means. And he trapped the kid's cat, and Eric and the officer had words over the cat, which you had said was something to do with the cat, right?
Yeah. That's what happened, is that they had a big beef over a cat that my son had at his house, and the officer, I guess, was definitely picking up the cats to drop off at his deer lease. Who would do that? I don't know what for. So,
a couple questions, real quick, kind of in regards to the wife. Be United Missing Person says the wife's reported behaviors ring as untrue and suspicious. Did you have a life insurance policy? And then Yvette Aubin asks, is she keeping kids from you guys?
Well, the thing about it is we don't know if she had any life insurance on him.
If she did, we don't know about it. He didn't know about it.
Right. But with this, I was talking to you earlier about something that was going on down there in Cass County. Now I'm hearing through the grapevine, there's a lot of insurance scams going on out there with human lives. I think there's people out there going and getting an insurance on somebody without somebody knowing it, and then bam, they disappear. Who knows what happened out there with that? I just don't know if there was any insurance. And now, as far as the kids, those kids weren't my sons, but he took care of them as of his own, as if they were his. I mean, he loved them to the core. Those kids are all from each one of them, three different dads. But my son took care of them like they was his own, and they loved him. And one of the biggest thing is she kept those kids away from everybody. She didn't want nobody talking to them or even talking to any of my son's friends. For what reason? Who knows?
We even tried when we tried to go down there. Well, actually, he was going down to Texas, right? Like right after this happened, to help look for my brother. And he offered to give her gas money so that he could see her, and the girls. And she didn't. She made up every excuse not to go.
Yeah.
To see him.
Chris, do you want to I'll put two things, one for you to read, then a question that follows it?
Okay. Karen Knuckles asks, it is also worth mentioning that there are 3 people missing out of Cass County. And Rachel Elizabeth says, do you have the names of the other missing folk?
Well,
I only bring that up because I know you had mentioned something about that before.
Yes. 3. I'm sorry. They went haywire. Yes, there was actually there's a lot more than just 3 people missing from Cass County. There's probably about I want to say about 6, 7. But the first 2 people that went missing before my son, it was 2 months, a month to 2 months before my son got there to Atlanta. And he already knew about these people because it's just a big circle. Now, the people that apparently had made these people disappear.
Well, they need names. She said, what are the names?
Oh, the names of them was Donnie and Cindy.
Donnie Combs and
Cindy. I can't remember Cindy's last.
Karen maybe can put that up.
Yeah, Karen can probably put that up. Karen Knuckles.
Cindy
But
Arnold.
But yeah, you can go over the
Yes,
situations as well.
yeah, so apparently the guys that did this made them disappear. They just been indicted on
Which is public news, by the way.
which that is public news,
Yeah.
but they just been indicted on the murders of them two people, which they had from the very first week or 2 weeks. The name came up that they also had done something to my son from his wife. Now, get that.
And not only that, I mean, he had family members saying it just out in the blue that he did something to my brother, which,
Yeah.
like we said, we don't know, right? But
Yeah.
I mean,
If you get 10 people or 20 people saying the same thing, well, it's got to be true. The thing about it is we have not discovered my son's body or anything like that yet as of this
we're just
moment.
clueless. We have no
Yeah.
idea.
We got maybe places where the law enforcement should go look, need to look, and maybe have to be on this, but they don't want to move. They don't want to budge and do anything. We even got photos of the areas because they don't want to really touch base with anybody on this because they call everybody, that's all hearsay. Well, one of your best ways of finding somebody is hearsay, because without hearsay, you won't even know what's going on.
Well, especially
Yeah.
when there's more than just one or two people saying it.
Yeah, those are tips. You need to follow the tips.
Right. And
Which if
I
they
feel
followed them, we don't know.
I feel that most of the footwork that anybody's doing to find anybody or any of their family members comes from their own family members, because law enforcement won't do anything at all until they're being pressured or
Yeah.
it's one of their own that's missing. And
Yeah.
for me, it's one of the hardest things right now that I got to live for, because I got no law enforcement trying to reach out to me and talk to me and try to. The only thing I get from them is why are you bothering us, or why we're getting on, or we're doing something, or we got nowhere. There are no clues. They're just hearsay, and never once had any condolences for how I feel about what's going on with my son. They call it a missing persons, but there's a lot of foul play involved in here.
We've also heard that Donnie, the other guy, the one that was just found, or that they know about now that was missing, was actually related to Sam as well, which is Eric's wife.
So down there in Cass County, I think the whole city's in just one big old family out there. So
And they're all in cahoots.
yeah, everybody's kin to everybody on there. Any other questions that?
I've been having it. There's been so much in the chat that I kind of skipped a few, but Elizabeth Gibbs makes a good point. They can't release any insurance money until he's presumed dead. So if she does have it, she can't collect, I suppose.
I think they said they got to wait 7 years before somebody, unless they put a clause in it or something like that. Because, I have a lot of people that are texting me or messaging me on my messenger, just giving me all kinds of information. Even a person that I feel that's very important to this case, that, he's putting all kinds of names out there to me and letting me know that why are they doing this and what purpose and all that. So, it's kind of, but there again, the law enforcement doesn't want to hear anything, or they'll just push it away aside thinking it's just no news at all.
And so someone did ask, I'm sorry.
And they just call people, when these people come out and try to explain to us what happened, they call them drug addicts. They call them, they're just crackheads. Crackheads tell the truth. I'm sorry, but when they're on that, whatever they're on, it's like an alcoholic. An alcoholic will tell you the truth when he's drunk.
Mm-hmm. Chris, if I know you have your questions as well, but you can also, just so you know, if you go through the chat and see a good one, you can pull one out too. So Karen Nichols says, of course, the family wants any information you have. So if you saw Eric, who also goes by Slow, by the way, I understand.
Yes, yes.
in case you see him, because we still, of course, want to leave the possibility open that for whatever reason Eric decided to, maybe he got mixed up in something and he had to get away for a bit, whether he felt he was protecting you or trying to clear his mind or something like that, right?
Yeah, you can turn it back on.
Yeah, we're still hopeful that he is alive, that he's in hiding from something bad that he's seen or heard. There's always something like that that people want to disappear from and protect their family. But I can honestly tell you that my son would not go 2 days without calling his dad or his brother or his sister on nothing. So for him to disappear just like this, even if he was trying to say, he's got a strong family. Believe me, he's got a lot of protection out there my family is huge. And if we needed to all pull together, we can actually be out there and help him. But at the most, we can't do anything if we don't know anything. He wouldn't just leave his dogs and even those kids. He wouldn't leave those kids like that.
Yeah, he would have contacted you.
Exactly.
At some point.
Yeah, it sounds like, absolutely. But we still hold out hope that there's some kind of answer that leads to a positive outcome. Be United Missing Persons just says, we advise our families to be polite, but insist officers act. Write down officers' names. Be sure they see you do it. Go to the TV crew, ask to go on camera, tell the public what you want police to do. And Be United is a group that I work with. I mention them every podcast. They're awesome. They made one of the flyers that we keep showcasing, and they're correct. Sometimes you got to stay on law enforcement. Sometimes they have so much going on.
Right.
Unfortunately,
it seems like sometimes they don't care. I don't want to accuse them of that, but it does come off that way.
No, granted, we are law-abiding citizens. We don't go try and break the law because we want to break it. But we also want help from the law because that's what they're there for. And if we can't get any help them, who can we turn to? Because we can't just keep doing things on our own and getting ourselves mixed up in another problem, or we might disappear or we might get killed looking for my son. That's why we still need law enforcement out there. No, by all means, we don't want to put down the law enforcement at all. We just want to make sure that they hear us loud and clear, and we want our help from them.
Yeah.
And, we can't do that if they're not going to answer our calls or call us back or talk to us like human beings. We're all human beings. And granted, even though I wear a security uniform, believe me, I know how they treat people. And I just want them to understand that if it was any one of their families, I would be out there looking for their family too.
Yeah, and it's their job. Okay, we have another question from Juan Elias. Did they have any joint bank accounts? And do you know the status of those accounts? Him and his wife.
As far as I know, they only
had one.
They only have one bank account,
but she says she couldn't get into it because he reset the password.
Yeah. Okay. Now that night that she said that he took off, that very night, she said that he took his wallet with him. Okay. And then turned around and said that he didn't take his wallet with him. But a year later, his wallet was found in the same house that she moved from. It didn't take her but a month. It didn't take her but a week and a half to move out of that house.
Week and a half?
Yeah. She was out of there. And then a year later, somebody else moved in, and so all of a sudden, they found his wallet tucked way back on top of a closet. Now, the police officer said anybody could have left that up there. I'm sorry, no. If he was going to go to the store and go buy some tobacco, he would have had to have his wallet with him.
Yeah,
so he didn't have his phone? Go.
Oh, I'm sorry. At first it was, he went outside to the Jeep to look for snuff, which is, chewing tobacco. And then all of a sudden it was, he went down to the store, down the street to go get it. So we don't really know what really happened. We just know the two versions that she said happened.
So he left his phone, his wallet, and he was wearing slippers, like house slippers
and house pants. Well, that's what she said. And
So do
he
you think
also,
that he actually left willingly that day?
well, he also wore contacts, and he rarely ever wore his glasses anymore. And she says that he even left without his contacts, and he had his glasses supposedly, and that she was carrying his contacts in case he came back.
Okay.
But none of that other stuff was found.
Yeah, I never seen my son without his contact. I never seen him with glasses. I mean, forever.
Since he was, you know,
So he left his contacts and glasses, or
No,
they haven't found the.
he had his glasses because he couldn't see
Okay.
without anything, but he rarely ever wore his glasses. He never took his contacts out.
Yeah, that's like
It
me.
just
I do the
seemed
same
so
thing.
weird. And as far as the bank accounts, they did have a joint bank account, but she had said that it was mainly her money that was in there. But she wasn't working at the time. So I don't know.
Yeah.
A lot of
And
people.
also to go back on these people that were found and accused or indicted for the disappearance of the Donnie and Cindy. The guy actually that they had lived right behind my brother. But we also heard that he had issues with him too. So
they were all friends, or they were.
or they just all knew each other.
Okay.
Well, you know, she grew up in that town. She went to school.
She knew
there,
everybody there.
so she knew everybody. Now, my son, I guess, probably started knowing everybody because he was doing all their tattoos. Yeah, you know, he's big guy, 6'6", 6'7", almost 300 pounds. You know, it had to take a lot more than just one person to bring him down, if that was the case. And if he left on his own, my God, who wouldn't want to? You know, it's like, you know, Andre the Giant. You can't miss that guy walking around.
Right. A couple people have made mention to that either had to be a group or someone with a weapon or something.
Yes, yeah. Especially somebody who knew the dogs, because the dogs
Yeah.
didn't make any sound, supposedly, from what we understand.
Yeah.
And they were pit bulls, or
Yeah.
what kind of? They were pit bulls.
Yeah, they were full-blood pit bulls.
Yeah,
And
those
that was
aren't.
another thing that she had mentioned all the time, is that her pit bulls were worth so much money. And that's why they started even looking for Eric, because of the pit bulls. She made that very clear, actually.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, if there's one guy that's not going to be my first pick to go after alone, it's going to be a 6'7" guy with 2 pit bulls. That's for sure.
You're right. Yeah, well, definitely. Now, my son had a big heart, so I mean, I want to say that he generally watched it back. He took care of himself. He didn't go out much. So for me to even think that he was going to take off and go to the grocery store that time of a night.
Well, and he wasn't planning on leaving. He had 2 mixed match shoes on, house shoes at that.
Yep.
He wasn't even planning on leaving.
It doesn't sound like he was going out for a walk or to the store.
No. And he just wasn't the type to, I mean, he would get up and leave, but he would tell somebody.
No, go on.
I'm sorry, Chris. No, it's a lot of people saying it could have been someone they knew, and then people
Yeah, it
asking
had to have been.
things about the neighborhood and what's the population of the town, things along those lines.
Well, let's just say the population is pretty small in that town, and that Cass County we live in Indianapolis, Indiana, and Cass County has more crime rate than Indianapolis. Yeah.
It's like, I want to say six little towns put together, basically.
Cass County. One Up Entertainment says, it's weird to me no one can find usable footage. There has to be footage.
And see, we've been left clueless about the footage because it was turned in, and then they say, oh, well, we can't give it back to you. Why not? You know?
Yeah.
This is one of those cases where it just boggles your mind so much.
And nothing was ever even looked into. And even if it was, also, she washed all of his clothes. She washed all of them.
like this
I
next
know
day.
that's like sporadic out, but I mean, it's just little details that you would actually want to look at, you know, but nobody's ever taken the time to just look at it. I don't know.
Now the crime happened. So you got Texarkana, Atlanta, Texas, and then Texarkana. So when they drove the Jeep over there, Arkansas police and Atlanta police kept saying, no, it's not our job, it's their job. No, it's not our job, it's their job. So they're both pointing fingers at each other and nobody wants to get nothing done.
And somebody had to have known that would have happened.
Yeah, that's done purposefully to drive a vehicle to a different state. So the jurisdictions, it's a missing person in this state, but the evidence is in another state. So
the two people that went missing from Atlanta or Cass County, they found their truck like in the right down half a mile from where my son's Jeep was found, burnt up.
So
in the same area.
So get this: the people that were just indicted for Cindy and Donnie. Okay, they all knew each other. They all knew Eric. Eric knew them. So the one of the guys, he lives right behind my brother. The other guy lives right down the road where my brother's Jeep was found. He lives in that area anyway. Mm-hmm. So you got to put two and two together. I mean, it's not, rocket science.
We have questions asking if the grounds have been searched. Has there been any searches going on the grounds?
Well, she's actually on here now.
Who is?
His wife.
Oh.
Samantha with her.
Oh, that's okay. Oh, I didn't know that was her. I'm the one that put that on screen.
We're just putting out the information that we know. So, I mean, it is what it is.
I thought she was referring to something else, not saying you guys. 99%. Sorry. Yeah. Okay, Samantha. Well, I don't know if you caught the beginning of the show, but yeah, we say we make no hard accusations here. Just trying to figure things out. You have a right to your opinion too, of course, Samantha, exactly. And nobody's trying to accuse you of that.
Just throwing out everything that we know.
Okay, so Karen had asked me if I had blocked her, and I didn't know who she meant because I didn't connect the name. But yeah, no, you're not blocked, Samantha. We're not here to try.
Well, and there's nothing to hide. I mean, she says it's false, but it's not, because this is things that she's told the family. This is things that she's just said, basically. I mean, there's no reason for us to lie.
We don't want to lie about anybody. We're not really trying to accuse her. We're just trying to make.
We're just trying to throw out whatever we know.
Whatever we know and whatever we come up with. Now, as far as doing another search party, every time we do a search party, it seems like we've been followed, we've been harassed, we've been told not to search.
By whom?
We don't know, just by people, but we're thinking by the same people like the ones that just got indicted.
Okay. So there has been no major search?
Crystal, can you, just so everyone knows, the reason I was a little unprepared in the beginning, I have my dog right here. He's dying. He has a few days left. So he's kind of a mess, and I have to really keep an eye on him because when I say dying, like literally a few days. So I apologize. Can you take over for just a minute, Crystal? Because he just kind of went. So sorry, guys. If you want to start maybe with Juan's question on screen, and then and then you can.
Okay. Juan Elias asks, has his credit been checked to see if somebody has stolen his identity?
The only person that would have access to that would be her, because
we don't have his credit information because she's got his credit cards. Apparently, she said that. As far as the police, they have not given us any information. They won't do any search into it because they still feel it's just a missing person, and he'll probably come back or whatever. No, I mean, how can you have a missing person? Also, on top of that, it still be lots of foul play in it, and they know this because they haven't really closed it.
Well,
one other thing.
Sorry,
no,
I keep interrupting you.
The car. That's another question I had. There was no foul play found inside the car, was there?
They didn't look for it.
They didn't look for anything in the car.
No, they didn't. They didn't even try to look for it. They just basically gave her the car back and said there was nothing out of the ordinary there.
Yeah, they left. They said that he basically, since he left on his own accord, there was nothing that points to him being harmed. But they don't know. They didn't really take into factor everything else that had been happening around him.
Fingerprints, DNA,
Nothing.
No. But as we're told, that's normal.
Yeah, that's what we're told from
these types of cases.
Police officers from Arkansas is that that's normal. We don't do that because we didn't see any foul play in there or whatever. Well, he's missing. Why didn't you even check for fingerprints or whatever, the doors, the handles, whatever?
Or maybe just like store the car in a lot or something instead of
And also about a year and a half ago when I called to the Atlanta Police Department, I got dispatched because there were no police officer or detectives in the office right then and there. But I got dispatched, and dispatch accidentally told me. They said, well, they're not even looking for him because there's no missing person's case on him. He's not being considered missing.
Well, the car,
that's what they told me at first. But
his wife reported him missing.
Right.
But
dispatch told me that they weren't even looking for him because, that he wasn't considered missing because he left on his own accord. And that's what dispatch told me, which I don't think that she was supposed to tell me that, because the next day the detective called me and said, oh, well, she doesn't know what she's talking about. We actually do have him considered as missing person. So it's just confusing. We just don't know.
Is. Okay, so I'm looking at the chat. I can't put up the comments on the screen, but I can read some off.
And then when I called the Arkansas Police Department, they said that there's nothing because he didn't live there.
He didn't. Oh, because he didn't live where his car was found.
Right. So he did. They keep telling me that he didn't go missing from Arkansas, so they don't have anything for him. Period.
His wife.
There was nothing ever started.
His wife just put up there. Everything is 99% a lie. Mm-hmm. So why don't she get out there and prove us wrong and tell us that it's not 99% a lie? Give us a different motive to not point this into her direction or to not say anything about her, because basically everything that we've said is all about what she told us. Whether she was on alcohol or drugs, whatever, at the moment, at the time, she's going to definitely say she wasn't, but we all know different.
I think we honestly have given her the benefit of the doubt.
We have a lot from the beginning.
There was no suspicion, period, until everything that she started doing. I mean, there was no. We loved her. Her girls were like our family. But
so I want.
No, you're fine. You can go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, so I always, when I speak to someone and build a relationship with them, I keep loyalty to them. So I'll let you guys decide. But she said something about wanting to do her own interview. If you want her to tell her side, I have no problem doing that. But I try not to conflict. I don't want to cause like fights and stuff. So it's up to you guys. But if you want her to be able to tell her side, I have no problem.
Well, I'm going to put it to you this way, is that she tried to tell her own story with another podcast because she called my niece a liar and all that, and called that person out to that other podcast that my son did, that my niece did. And,
my question is just why did you give up?
Yeah. Why did you give up? And to this moment, ain't nobody going to believe anything she's saying now because of what we already put out there, because of what she said. No, we don't have no animosity against her. We just want to know why she hasn't come forward and really put herself into this mix, because that's her husband. That's my son. It's her husband. She loved him as much as he loved her. Hell, he would go to the end of the earth for her, but yet at the same time, she didn't do that for him. I don't understand why.
One Up Entertainment says, if you guys say the exact place again, he'll see if he can find open cameras with backup servers. He can't promise, but he can try. He's trying to see if he can find video footage. What's the exact I mean, if you want to give the address.
What exact place where he lived?
I believe he's talking about the cameras where they said there was no footage.
Come on. Sorry, guys. You know, my dogs went all
It's
crazy.
no, my dog used to be like that, but just because he's sick.
You know, throughout this deal, you know, I've had people
I can
working
find
on
it.
things.
I can find it.
And where my son's Jeep was found.
Well, he's talking about where he lived.
Oh, where he
Atlanta.
lived.
Yeah, he's trying. I guess he has like technical skills, trying to see if he can find footage, video.
Yeah,
footage.
maybe have the car leaving the neighborhood.
Yeah.
or-
Oh, and that's another thing. The officer said that we asked them to go down there and see if they can see cameras all the way down to that footage, to the area where he left. Well, they told us that they didn't see no cameras or anything like that. First of all, every one of them dang stores had cameras. I can almost tell you that. And they could either see his vehicle leave or whatever, if he even went to that direction.
So it's Taylor Street in Atlanta.
Okay. Do you have? I guess you might need an address. And Samantha's saying something on screen here. I don't know if you want to read it or so. I try to give you guys the option of what you want to respond to if you're not comfortable
Yeah.
with something.
I mean,
you
there's
don't have
nothing to hide. I mean, everybody knows that Eric sold marijuana. I mean, it is what it is.
Well, you know, it's
But-
funny though, because she said that in the beginning, she said that my son didn't do any drugs, wasn't selling any drugs and all that. Well, then after that, she said that he was selling drugs. He was all into this. But why lie about it in the beginning and all of a sudden tell us because she got mad at us and started trash mouthing him? Okay, fine. Sure. But she didn't even say that the guy that was selling drugs to my son, she called him before she called the cops to come and pick up the drugs at the house. And his name is Rebel Gardner. And we also feel that he might have something to do with my son's missing case. Because
No, we don't know that
apparently
for sure. But
her and my son and him had a falling out because her and he thought that her, Sam and Rebel were messing around. Yeah.
Is he the one that owed Eric money, or
no, that was the guy that.
that's a
No, the guy that she's saying that
that owed him money?
Who owed him money?
no,
But it was like $70. We're talking about
Okay,
$70. Supposedly, that's what they said.
so this little young black guy, he's going to go and kill my son over $70.
Yeah.
And apparently my son and my nephew,
Cassius was his name.
Cassius was his name. My son and my nephew went and talked to this guy face to face, and he said, "I don't have nothing to do with it," you know. But hey, who knows? What?
Yeah.
You never know people these days.
Yeah.
He lived on West Taylor Street in Atlanta. Atlanta.
Texas.
Texas.
Amanda said 403 East Taylor Street.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that's where.
403 East Taylor Street,
Yeah,
Atlanta, Texas. Not Georgia, Texas.
yeah.
So Cassius, the one that the one that she did bring into this whole.
Yeah.
She let us know that he had issues with this guy. He is actually also kin to the people that were just indicted as well.
Yeah, yeah.
He's kin to
Oh,
them.
wow.
So basically, these guys have been indicted. They're basically their whole family lived around my son. So
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? They could have had the whole family set my son up and do a marijuana deal, whatever. This isn't about him selling drugs or doing drugs. This is about
Yeah.
my son.
We're just trying to find out where he is.
This is about my son missing or disappearing. This ain't about putting blame on anybody.
we're just throwing out the facts that we know and then what led up to this whole thing. I mean, it is.
You're not making all this up. It's
2 years.
What
2
you
years
know.
passed. I think it's time. It's time to bring him home. Whether he be dead or whatever they did to him. You know, all I'm just trying to do is bring my son home. Maybe bury him. Give him a proper burial if he's gone. If he's not
At
gone,
this point, it's like
Eric,
I
if
can't.
you hear us and see us, please, son, come home. You know.
Yeah, and actually, that's a part that we do towards this. Would you like to speak directly? I always try to give you guys the floor here in case he's listening or watching. Do you want to speak directly to him? Get him any messages across?
Cool.
All right, Eric. You know, it's been 2 long years since I've seen you. I missed your birthdays, 2 years already. Christmas, Thanksgiving. I miss your smile, your laugh. You know, we all do. We need you home, bud. If you're out there, give us some kind of sign. If you need help, please, you know, come home. Give us a call. We will be there for you. And nobody's going to hurt you if you know your dad. He'll be there for you. We just want you to come home, son. If you're still alive, if you're out there.
I would just say, if anybody knows anything, it's just, you don't know what has happened. We don't know what's happened to you. And I just ask that if there's anybody out there that knows anything, just come forward. You don't even have to give your name. You just say what you know, and that's it. I mean, it's that simple. You know, there's no, I don't know. At this point, it's just like, I don't even care what happened. I just need to know where you're at. I just need to know. The not knowing is probably the worst thing ever.
Yeah, we love you, Eric.
You guys are both doing an amazing job. I know he's. You know,
Thank you so much for coming on.
Absolutely, and I'm going to do everything I can. I always say that I do these interviews almost every night. That hasn't been so true this week because I had a lot of problems, but computer issues. But you know, even though I do them every night, I can never put myself in your shoes. But I try my best to understand. To everybody saying to give Samantha a voice, by all means, I have no problem interviewing her, and it sounds like they're okay with it. I don't know if you guys are saying to bring her on now, but as we're already an hour into this is tough on these families. So they just spend an hour bearing their soul about something that's hugely emotional. To bring an opposite perspective on an hour later, it's probably a little much for them, guys. So I'd like to do it separately. You know, I have no problem talking to you, Samantha. We're not trying to create good guys and bad guys, black and white scenarios. We get that everyone has a side. And if you missed the beginning, we stressed that we're not here to accuse anyone. We're just trying to piece things together. So to everyone telling me to interview her, I have no problem doing that. Again, as long as everyone's okay with it, and that's fine.
Right,
I'm
and
here.
because her side is crucial to whatever happened. You know, whatever she knows is the most important because she was right there. You know,
Right.
I mean, any little detail that she can even remember is what we need.
Rachel Elizabeth says, "Who was Eric fighting 18 days before he went missing?"
Cassius.
A guy named Cassius from Atlanta. I don't know his last name, but he
Like fist fighting or just in an argument with?
No argument.
Yeah, no fist fighting.
Oh, he fist fought him.
Yeah, he fist fought him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things about this case is it sounds like there's so many ways to go on this one.
Yeah, there's so many theories, and
I could see this mushrooming.
Well,
I'm sorry.
you know,
It's like nobody there cares. I mean, maybe they do care, but
I want to say
they're not.
that everybody in that town, there's at least maybe 20, 30 people that do know what happened to my son. Nobody's coming forward. Why? Because they're scared. Okay, there's nothing to be scared. The law is supposed to be behind your back. And if they say, well, we can't trust the law, go to the FBI. Go somewhere that you can put your word in and not be scared, because that is the only way you're going to get this out to somebody. So many families have their missing children, fathers, mothers, or kids, children. You know, they go missing every day, and people see things. Even if it's the corner of your eye, you've seen something. Bring it forward. You just never know.
Go to the Texas Rangers that aren't in that city. You know, if you don't feel like you can trust anybody, then just go a little bit farther out. You know, go to the state if you need to.
Yes.
Just have them reach out. You know, that's all we can do.
Absolutely. And Karen says you guys are doing great. I know it's hard. I know I put her up there because I know she's a good friend of yours. A lot of people asking about a private investigator, so we can go over that option. Chris, I want to make sure, since we are kind of nearing towards the end anyway, is there any more questions you wanted to make sure to get out, or anything you saw in chat that you thought was interesting that I skipped over? Not intentionally skipped over, guys, but there's a lot of stuff.
Well, I don't have many more questions.
I thought you had said there was one or two things you wanted to ask towards the middle of the end.
Yeah. My question is, all in all, with all the information we have, what do you think happened to your son?
What do you think happened to my son?
Yeah.
Well, where you're leaning, at least. Yeah.
Where are you leaning towards? Yeah.
I feel that my son might have heard or seen something, and somebody didn't like it, and they took him out for that reason. Because if my son owed some money, he would have paid that up, or he'd have come to his dad and said, hey, I need this money. I'd have helped him pay that. But I don't believe that my son owed any money to anybody. And if they did, if he did owe money to somebody, how come they ain't owning up to it and coming, hey, you know what, your son owed me some money or whatever. I believe they might have owed him money because of his tattoos and how big-hearted he was, and how, my son would give the shirt and money off his back to his last dollar. But I do believe that he was taken out of this picture because he knew too much or he seen too much. Okay. When you're doing tattoos out in the middle of the night like that, you hear things and you see things. You're not doing tattoos for good people. You're doing tattoos for a lot of shady characters out there.
Okay. Yeah.
And have you? Sorry if you've answered this. We went over a lot, but a lot of people asking about a private investigator. Have you looked into that?
Well, I mean, we can't really afford a private investigation. I have looked into it. They charge an arm and a leg by the hour.
Which is understandable, but
we understand that. But we don't, we're not made of money. We're barely surviving. And now with this COVID, it's even worse. So, we tried to contact a couple, and, they charge by the hour, and it's just hard. Even if we put down $2,000 or $3,000, they would go through that within a week.
Yeah. So we have people suggesting do fundraisers. If you do decide to do something like that, I have no problem trying to spread the word. I have a decent little community here. I can't make any promises. You never know what people are going to do. We get a group. We
thank you if you would,
Yeah, we're on NamUs.
We're on NamUs too. We put that out there. And that was a funny thing though, because Cass County, Atlanta wanted to do a blood test, and they sent us the package, but they wanted us to send the package back to them, which it wasn't supposed to be sent back to them. It was supposed to be sent back to NamUs. So I had to redo that again. And NamUs said, well, they did it wrong. They weren't even supposed to do that way. So I got up here in Indianapolis, and, we did the NamUs deal not even a month ago. So we're back on their track there.
That's good.
Okay. Is there anything that Kristen and I didn't think to ask that you guys feel is important to get out there? Well, things, of course, like tattoos, we'll go over all that as much as we can. We already know he's a big guy. That's an identifier. Any other identifying marks, scars, habits, clothes he likes to wear, just anything that if someone happens to see a guy that looks like him, they can go, oh, wait, is that Eric? Kind of thing.
Mainly black T-shirts.
Well, what's his favorite music?
Rap.
Oh, the guy, I can't remember the guy. He's got a favorite group. I can't remember his name. The rapper.
Wu-Tang.
He was black. What was it?
Wu-Tang. I'm just throwing. I'm just joking.
Post Malone.
Post Malone. Okay, there you go. That's a popular one.
He wears a lot of black shirts, black baggy shirts.
And is this a good representation of his current tattoos right here? I mean, I guess it would have to be.
Yeah. Now the 317 is because he's here in Indianapolis. That's out here in Indianapolis. You know,
Yes,
happily,
Alvarado across his belly there.
yeah, Alvarado across his belly. My name around his wrist, Lorenzo. You know, I didn't get up close and see all them tattoos. You know, I'm not. I didn't want to see half of them. See, pretty
Yeah,
crazy.
I'm not a tattoo guy either.
Yeah.
I just mean like for myself kind of thing. But they look cool. Okay, is there anything else that I just want to make sure we're thorough and cover everything? I don't want you to go, oh
Right.
crap, Jason didn't think to ask this. If there's anything important, there's no rush. You can make sure we get everything out.
I mean, as far as I can tell, I think you've done a great job in helping us get this out there. I just do want I want to say one thing to Sam, and I know she's listening.
Yeah.
Sam, we don't have no animosity towards you. Yes, me and you have never really gotten along after this, maybe even before. But let me put something out there to you, Sam. You have to do what you need to do to you know, find your husband, find my son. Forget about all this argument between me and you or the family or who said what or who did what. The biggest thing that I heard from your mouth all the time is I want to find my son, but at the same time, you keep belittling us. You keep telling us that we're no good. Your mother keeps trashing us, your family. But all we're trying to do is find my son. Now, if that was one of your children, I think you would be right there trying to find your child no matter what. Please, if you want to help us out, we're not here to stop you. We want your input. We need all your input. We need you to be our eyes and our feet down there because we're not there. Now, you can either take that or just leave it. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm never going to stop looking for my son until we find him. You may think I'm not doing anything from up here, but I'm doing a lot, young lady. So stop trash mouthing me.
Yeah, and Samantha, it sounds like everyone's okay with you telling your side. It sounds like they actually would prefer you to come and tell your side. So if it feels like, I know, I can only imagine you go to some random like YouTube channel and you hear your name mentioned, it must be like, whoa, what? So I get it. And I apologize if it comes off like that. But again, they're just trying to figure it out. And you're more than welcome to tell your side, Samantha. So don't feel like we're here to be against you or anything like that.
No, we're not. I mean, because the only stories we got was from you. You're the only one there with my son. That's what you said. So we have to rely on what you're saying to us, and that's what we're putting out there. But if you got something else different that might help to find him, of course, bring it on. We're here to hear it and, you know, try to get this law enforcement on our side to help us find my son.
And Be United says, no problem. Just trying to get folks back to their loved ones. That was very nice. So thank you. And I think we got everything. One last question. Let's get this one in. Question. Oh, I hear a lot of feedback. People asking if you've tried getting a drone out there, if there's any way to search the area by drone.
We have, and you know, we did I had a person that do a satellite image where his truck was found. Mm-hmm. And, you know, they said they see some stuff out there like movement, truck marks, but we still haven't had anybody go out there. But this is in Arkansas, so I mean, it's hard. It's hard. It's on a private property, but it's hard to get the law to even go out there and try to help. I mean, there's a law. Hey, can't you go out there and look to see what's out there, maybe? But they don't want to even walk out there just to search, you know.
And
if it's private property, they need like a warrant sometimes. So
we did have cadaver dogs wandering around. I had a lady that is out of Atlanta and did a cadaver dogs, and she was doing a lot of searches. But you know, even her got spooked because she found a note on her porch stating, you know, stay off of this, bitch, you know, because you're not going to find you're going to find yourself somewhere else, you know, threatening her to not look for this, you know, to not go any further. So if this is just a missing case, why are all these people threatening the family when they're looking for somebody or threatening somebody to stay away from this case, you know? Gotta be more than just a
Yeah,
missing.
there's something else. There's clearly something else going on.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
I think that a lot of people there really know. They honestly know, but because they're so scared, they don't want to say anything, which is understandable. I get it, but all it takes is one phone call. You know, you don't have to give your name. Use a cell phone that I don't know that you could throw away or something. It's just so many ways that you can go about just giving information. That's what it's all about. Just anything is what we're asking for.
And we have had a lot of people come forward on my messenger and just drop a lot of information, that are people that are scared. They have seen things happen down here in Atlanta, that know these people that have done these bad things,
But it's not enough just to come to us because we can't do anything.
Exactly.
Because if we go and report whatever people tell us, it's just hearsay.
What we need to do is have these people go to the law, not Cass County law. I'm talking about higher than them, because we've tried to get them talking and they're saying, well, we're not doing that case, or they're just hearsay. We're not going to involve ourselves in that. You got to go to a higher person. Maybe
like the Texas Rangers.
Yeah. Well, I don't even say anything to the Texas Rangers there in Atlanta, because he knows too many people there, and there are a lot of family in that law enforcement together.
Okay.
And just to clear it up, because I want to be fair to everybody, I thought you had said Samantha did a podcast. She says, I've never done a podcast. Did you say she had done one? She's saying she hasn't.
No, she had talked to somebody from the last podcast, or the guy wanted to do. I don't know how that worked, but apparently he was talking to the guy, and I don't know what happened over there.
No, it's Eric's cousin did a podcast,
Okay.
and I'm thinking that Samantha talked to the host of the podcast about it.
That's why we get to pay Crystal the big bucks. All right. Well, you guys were amazing. Like I said, if there's anything we didn't get out, you have all the time in the world. But I think you said we covered pretty much everything. So I want to thank you. Let's go over his pictures one last time, just to make sure anyone joining late sees them. And if you want to tell a story about him or anything like that, by all means, or just any kind of identifier. Does he have any? You went over tattoos. Does he have any scars, like something on his head or something anyone can look for? I mean, he's pretty recognizable anyways, but.
Well, I mean, if you see him, if he's bald, I know he's got another tattoo on the top of his head. I could never.
No, it's a scar. There's a circular.
You didn't see him when I seen him when he got out. He was bald, so he had a tattoo on there.
I know, but he used to have a scar from.
Well, he had a real big scar on top of his head.
So he covered it, I believe, but I don't know.
It was kind of like from a ringworm or something like that when he was real little, but it left a scar that big.
And he had a tattoo there, so.
Yeah. If they ever see him bald.
Also, he has, I don't know, this is good for identifying purposes, but he did have a scar on his back cheek.
Right buttocks, because he had sepsis one time.
When he was little.
And they did a surgery on there.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Okay. And you know what? So I have, there's a Facebook page, guys. Please join it if you want to help out, or if you have any tips finding Eric Alvarado. It's linked in the description below. Just hit show more or show all, whatever it says. There's also Lorenzo's page, personal page. Christy, if you want, I can put yours. It's up to you guys. And let's go over some of the authorities' information. So I always say, guys, contact the family and the authorities for obvious reasons. Those are the best two people to contact. I put my information there below. It doesn't really make sense to just contact me instead of the authorities or the family, but for whatever reason, if you do, I'll pass it along. But it's always highly recommended to contact the family and or authorities. But we have the information on screen here. Excuse me. If any info, please contact the Atlanta, Texas Police Department. I'm sorry.
No, do it.
Okay. It's 903-796-7973. You can also contact Texas Ranger Joshua Mason at 903-225-5727. or Little River Sheriff's Department at 870-898-5115. And it's missing person number M as in Michael, P as in Peter, 54521. And again, the family's information is in the description below, as well as Be United. And I'll also put check out Karen Knuckle Phillips groups. I'm Missing East Texas Aid and Beyond. Both Be United and Karen are absolutely amazing, as well as we tons of people in the chat that help out all the time. And just so you guys know, like we get Yvette here, Tammy was here earlier. We got a lot of people who we've previously interviewed who are either were or are in your shoes. So while I could never understand it, just being outside of the situation, we do have people in the chat trying to help out that know exactly what you're going through. So I just feel like maybe that's a little comforting to know there are some people out there that at least get.
Well, we always say is that you'll never know what we're going through unless you've gone through it, and pray to God that you never have to go through what we're going through.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we're going to do everything both Crystal and myself going to do everything we can. Chris, do you have anything you want to say either to them or the chat or anything since we're winding down here, Chris?
Just wanted to say thank you for coming on, and to Samantha, if you're up for the interview, well, I'm down. I'll be there.
Yeah. Me and Chris by all means. And it's because Lorenzo and Christy said they're okay with it. So Samantha, you can tell your side. We're absolutely not against you. We're not accusing of anything. Just trying to find out what happened. Yeah. But all right, to everyone, you guys did absolutely amazing. I know Eric's super proud of you, and I'm going to do everything I can, man, to help push this out and do my small part and hope.
Jason and Crystal, thank you very much for bringing us aboard.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for all the help that I know you're going to generate a lot of people bringing something towards us, and hopefully we can get this solved pretty soon. We got a lot of faith in our God and you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And just so you know, it is the internet, so with a lot of people comes sometimes some bad. I know you said you already dealt with it, but just be prepared. We have a great community, but once in a while.
Well, there's always going to be somebody to say something bad about something, but they don't know what our shoes are at. They've never worn them, so we put everything in our God's hands, and it's a faith that we got that He's going to bring it along.
Absolutely. All right, thank you so much, and have a great night, everybody. And click subscribe, guys. Set the notification bell to all. We do this typically almost every night. Thank you so much to Crystal. A lot of people in the chat saying, "Bring Crystal back." And absolutely check out the. Lift that again, Lorenzo.
Check out the page.
Yeah, check out his page, guys. Absolutely amazing, and I love that shirt. It's really, really cool. So go join their page and help out, guys. Whether it's tonight. Someone yelling something in the background. Did I miss something?
Me.
Oh, okay, sir. All right, guys. Have a great night. Thank you so much.
Have a great night. Bye.
Take care, everybody.